Welcome back. I hope that you had a great summer and that you are ready to have a great school year. I hope that part of what makes this a great school year for you is that you get to know more about yourself and how you learn best. I hope that you get many opportunities to explore your strengths and tap into your creativity. If you're wondering what creativity is, think about this. Have you ever been out running, playing basketball, been sitting and waiting for a ride, or even getting ready to fall asleep at night when suddenly the answer to a problem or the solution to a dilemma that you've been dealing with suddenly pops into your mind? I know that this has happened to me. When this happens, when you are having this kind of experience, you have made contact with your creative spirit. You have allowed your creative side to come to the surface. This is what Nolan Bushnell, who created the idea for the Atari company, experienced when he was laying on the beach, and it's much of what Steve Jobs talks about when he describes the early days of Apple. Many people believe that creativity is mysterious and elusive. Others believe that creativity is only something that musicians, artists, and writers possess. Henry Ford wasn't any of these. Henry Ford simply got tired of riding horses that were stubborn and slow, so he invented the Model T. Think about the new and different ways that people have created to use a tape that was invented in 1927 by Johnson & Johnson to keep the moisture out of ammunition crates. Today, that's duct tape. Think of all the different ways that we use duct tape. Believe it or not, our lives are filled with creative moments in whatever we do, as long as we are flexible, open to new possibilities, and if we're willing to look at familiar things in a new and different creative way. The more you examine and explore your creativity, the more confidence you will develop, which in turn will fuel more creativity. As Maya Angelou said, you can't use up your creativity. The more you use, the more you have. This year our theme is Lions Create Their Day with Pride. Begin this year by examining your creative spirit. Set small challenges for yourself. Your first challenges or steps can be small ones, but what's important is that you need to keep moving forward and try different and new solutions for your problems. Keep in mind that creative people make mistakes, but creative people persist and keep thinking and working and looking for new solutions. I'm very excited as we begin this new school year. I want all of you to explore your creativity and work hard to excel. Importantly, I want you to have these experiences in a safe and supportive environment. To inspire you to start the school year on a positive note, let's take a few minutes and review some of the major policies and procedures in the Howard County Public School System that help keep you at Howard High School safe.
I'm Sean Griffin, Interning Administrator at Howard High School for 2014-2015, and I'd like to talk about the Student Code of Conduct. Board of Education has developed a Student Code of Conduct, and this serves as a disciplinary framework. It supports behavioral and discipline policies, and all of you are expected to be aware of and abide by the Student Code of Conduct. So expected student behaviors include engaging in learning activities, taking schoolwork seriously, taking responsibility for your own behavior, being courteous, respecting the personal, civil, and property rights of others, attending school regularly, on time, and prepared to learn, completing assignments on time, seeking alternatives to verbal or physical conflicts, speaking appropriately, dressing appropriately, exhibiting self-control, cooperating with others, and behaving ethically. Offenses included in the Student Code of Conduct apply to behaviors that occur on school property, at school-related activities, or when you are otherwise subject to the authority of the Howard County Public School System. So disciplinary action may be taken for off-campus incidents if the action could have an adverse effect on what happens here at school. Some of the consequences could include staff or administrative response, parent involvement, reallocation of your school time, exclusion from normal school activities, or even expulsion. Student discipline policy 9200 says that student behavior is the shared responsibility of the school, the home, and you. Disciplinary consequences are progressive in nature, and they're designed to change inappropriate behavior to encourage responsible actions and promote the development of self-discipline. You as a student have a right to due process, and the Board of Education has approved the following forms of discipline: alternative educational setting, detention, restricted access to school property, suspension, which could include in-school suspension, short-term suspension, long-term suspension, or extended suspension, could include in-school intervention, or even expulsion. And this policy applies during school hours as well as at other times and places, including, but not limited to, school buses, school-sponsored events, field trips, athletic functions, and any other activity where school administrators have jurisdiction over you. Disciplinary action may also be taken for off-campus incidents in accordance with Policy 9280. And this would include bullying, cyberbullying, harassment, or intimidation. Policy 9020. The rights and responsibilities of individuals are preserved to the protection and preservation of the rights of others. So you have a responsibility for your own learning, for your personal conduct, for the manner in which you exercise your rights, and you must accept the consequences of your actions. You have the responsibility to participate in the educational program offered by Howard High School, and in doing so, you are bound by the policies of the Howard County Public School System. You have specific responsibilities and rights related to school attendance, student expression, disciplinary action, due process, search and seizure, student records, student activities, use of school facilities, and non-discriminatory practices.
Good morning. My name is Gilbert Bannister. I'm one of the assistant principals here at Howard High School, and I'm responsible for grades 10 through 12 and alphabets O through Z. Today we're going to be discussing several policies. The first policy is bullying, cyberbullying, harassment, and intimidation. Students are prohibited from bullying, harassing, and intimidating others, as those actions can compromise the learning environment. Examples include, but are not limited to, hitting, name-calling, threatening gestures. These actions are not permitted in person or electronically. The next policy is sexual harassment. Students are entitled to an educational environment that is free from sexual harassment. Examples of sexual harassment include, but are not limited to, offensive language, pictures, unwelcome sexual advances, and spreading rumors about someone's sexual orientation. The next policy is civility. This policy sets expectations for civil behavior that supports a safe and nurturing environment at school and school-related activities. Unacceptable behaviors include, but are not limited to, rude or demeaning language, unreasonable demands, or gestures. The next policy is discrimination. The use of race, color, creed, national origin, religion, physical or mental ability, age, gender, or sexual orientation as a basis for threatening others in a negative way is prohibited.
Policy 9070 governs eligibility for extracurricular activities. In order to be eligible for any extracurricular activities, students must have a weighted 2.0 grade point average with no more than one failing mark, the marking period preceding, immediately prior to, the activity. While we're talking about extracurricular activities, I want to encourage everybody to come out and support all our athletic programs in addition to all our activities. While you come out to the stadium, a few things that are not permitted are backpacks, outside food, any contraband materials including baby powder, beach balls, air horns, any noisemakers are prohibited. If you have any questions, please be sure to see one of your administrators. Thank you.
Hello Lions, I'm Mrs. Fairley, the 9th grade administrator. In order to create a positive learning environment, our community of Lions must have a safe school. For this to happen, students are reminded the possession or use of alcohol, drugs, and over-the-counter medications are prohibited on school grounds or school-sponsored events. Tobacco products are also prohibited. This includes rolling papers and vapes. Lighters and matches will be confiscated. As a reminder, if you are out of area, you may be searched. Searches will be done by school officials when we have a reasonable belief that students possess an impermissible item. Searches may include you, your belongings, your car, your locker, and your electronic device. We may also be visited by the Howard County K-9 Unit. As we create a positive learning environment, you're expected to create your own positive day.
Good morning, Howard Lions. I'm Mrs. Veslany. I'm one of the assistant principals here at Howard. I work with students with grades 10 through 12 in the front part of the alphabet, letters A through G. One of my big responsibilities is working with scheduling, and I have my scheduling board right here behind me. This morning I want to review a few Howard County Public School System policies and procedures. One of the ways to be creative here at Howard is to create your school record with grades that represent who you are. In accordance with Howard County Public School Policy 80/20, grading and reporting, students are graded based on competence, assignment, preparation, participation, and work habits. Create your grades that represent who you are. Check your grades regularly on Aspen and see Mrs. Peters, our data clerk, before or after school or at lunch if you need an updated Aspen account. Bring in a current email address. Another way to create your day and begin each day in a positive way supports our attendance policy, Howard County Public School System Policy 90/10. Basically, be here and be on time. If you are absent, for excused absences, bring in a note from home on your first day back at school and give it to your first period teacher for an attendance pass. Students who are absent more than 9 days per year may be denied credit for classes. Seniors, this means you too. Another way to be creative is to create a safe school environment for all students. In accordance to Howard County Public School System Policy 9250, our weapons policy, the presence of weapons on school property poses a serious threat to the safety of our students and all of our staff. The possession of a weapon in school or after school on school grounds or other activities will result in suspension. Tell an adult if you know or you think you know a weapon is in our school. Be responsible to create a safe school environment for all Howard Lions. In addition, Policy 9270, student assault on school staff, will result in a severe penalty for any students that are violating it. Create safety in your day. Assault and battery on staff is strictly forbidden. Respect yourself and respect our staff. Believe it or not, what students do outside the school sometimes influences our safety in school. Maryland requires law enforcement agencies to inform the superintendent of students who have been charged with an offense or who are members of a criminal gang. A student may be disciplined under Policy 9280, students who are charged with community reportable offenses, when his or her presence raises safety concerns to our school. Create a safe school environment for all.
Okay. Hello, I'm Ms. Moore, Assistant Principal. I oversee grades 10 through 12, letters H through M. Today I'm going to share some information with you regarding Policy 9290, 1040, 3020, and 2010, which all center around gang activity, school safety, student representation, and trespassing. Policy 9290, gang activity and similar destructive or delinquent group behavior. HCPSS prohibits any gang activity and any similar destructive or illegal group behavior on school property, on school buses, or at school-sponsored functions. This includes any retaliation against individuals who report gang activity or individuals who are victims, witnesses, bystanders, or have reliable information about gang activity. All suspected violations of this policy will be investigated by the school administration. Violations of this policy are cumulative. Policy 1040, Safe School Environment. Howard County Public School and Howard High are committed to providing a nurturing, respectful, educational work environment where the worth and dignity of individuals is valued and their safety and rights are protected. Behaviors that compromise this commitment, interfere with school operations, or are otherwise contrary to the basic mission of the school will not be tolerated. Any behaviors that interfere with or threaten the physical, emotional, mental, or academic well-being of students or employees will be addressed through the application of the appropriate policy and the Student Code of Conduct. Policy 2010 student representation. Howard County Public School recognizes the value of contributions of students in a regular meetings of the board and encourages this participation by establishing the position of student member of the Board of Education of Howard County. By establishing the position, student representatives in each high school have an opportunity to participate in school-based decisions. The SMOB election takes place in the spring semester of each year. The student member of the board, or SMOB, is elected by student voters across the county in grades 6 through 11 and serves a one-year term beginning with the first regular scheduled meeting of the Board of Education in July. A great way to become an active member of Howard High is to consider participating in our SGA, our executive board, and our class board organizations. Policy 3020, trespassing or willful disturbance. The school system has the legal authority to take action when anyone willfully disturbs or otherwise prevents the orderly conduct of the school system instruction, administration, or activities. Additional Maryland law provides criminal penalties for any individual who trespasses on school property or fails to leave school property after being asked to do so by authorized personnel. Students who are in the building after 2:10 must be supervised by an adult. Any individual who is found to be on school property after receiving prior legal notice that his or her access to school property has been denied, or who remains on the property after being asked to leave, is considered to be trespassing. Students who are waiting for rides after school must remain in the front lobby near the Lion.